Hello everyone, Shadefire here, and today I'm taking a first impressions look at Jaws for the NES. Because of course, Jaws Unleashed is not the only Jaws game, there are at least two others, this being one of them. And it's got the LJN Toys logo on it, so you know it's going to be a very poor representation of whatever it's licensed from. But let's get in here. So I did actually read the manual ahead of time, because for games like this, you'd have no idea what you're really supposed to do otherwise. So basically, when we're on the world map here, we just need to avoid Jaws for now. You'll see his fin pop up. And instead, we have to get into random battles with sea life, because we need to harvest shells from them in order to buy the things we need to be able to fight Jaws. As you can see, Jaws has a consistent health bar that we can drain through multiple battles until we can prepare for the final battle. But for now, we just have to grind shells, and that is, from what I understand, the majority of this game is just shooting seemingly harmless sea life in order to harvest shells that we can use as currency, because I guess around here they use shells instead of money. No, crab. And that's it. We just go around this thing, random battles will pop up, and we try to harvest shells, and sometimes Jaws will show up in these random battles, I guess. And anything will kill us in one shot, and from what I saw in my testing, when you die, even though you have lives, you basically lose everything you have except for half of your shells you keep. So, I can see this would be a tough game to play through on one credit. And the chance of getting shells seems to be pretty random. Sometimes you'll get a lot, sometimes you'll get like none from one of these battles. And they just kind of keep going until you've killed a certain amount of sea life. Oh, shark. Not Jaws though, just a regular shark. The kind that we would eat in Jaws Unleashed. No, I guess I did well enough to get a bonus scene? Alright, so this is one of the other scene types. Basically, you just bomb jellyfish who are swimming in formation with a plane. Because, you know, why not? Just like in Jaws. Remember that part of the movie? Must have been in Jaws the Revenge. And then at the end of this, you are, I guess, scored on how many hits you get, and you get extra shells. Which is nice, because it speeds up the whole shell grinding thing. Without having me risk my life murdering sea life. I mean, then again, we all learned just how deadly stingrays could be when we lost a legend. "17 hits, which equals 5 shells. I wonder if I would have got 6 if I got 18. Oh, there's Jaws. So we want to avoid him for now, because we can't really do anything until we upgrade our power, which is how much damage we do. And I think it's only how much damage we do to Jaws. You have to be careful with these harpoons, too, because you can't just fire infinitely. You can only really have, like, 3 on the screen at once. So if you miss, you're vulnerable. Oh, there's Jaws anyway. Just came in to say hi. So we just need to avoid him. I don't think I can really damage him right now, no matter how many harpoons that pump into his face. The way he just kind of randomly shows up reminds me of the Friday the 13th NES game. Where Jason would just be there sometimes. Now you can see Jaws' health bar is not even going down a little bit. So we just need to avoid him, take out enough sea life to end the mission, and then try to get away. One of the things we can get with our shells is a scanner that will tell you when Jaws is nearby, so when we want to actually hunt him down, we can. Alright, so when this thing starts beeping, it means he's nearby. But basically, we just need to grind shells. Oh. Alright, so when Jaws first shows up, you can hit him with your ship, but that only lasts until your ship gets touched, and then they throw you off. shells at the edge of the screen. Not really a good place. Oh, and also they disappear really quickly. I guess otherwise because you get sprite flickering like that. Oop. So, this is supposed to be a first impressions, but I might actually finish this, depending on how well I do. I don't really want to jinx it, but I don't think it's actually that long when you know what you're doing. So I don't know how many shells we need for the next upgrade, but we're supposed to get it from the other port, because there's only 2 ports on the map. I also don't know if these jellyfish will give you shells. I guess they will. Nope. So I took a hit there, I lost my scanner, and now I only have 6 shells. And I have yet to, in my test runs, try to get... I've never gotten a second upgrade after that. I always get hit after getting the scanner. So... Alright. That's one problem with trying to pick up those shells off the bottom, is that you might have a jellyfish spawn directly under you. Oh, okay. Don't know what that was. So yeah, there's really not much to this game, and I can see why people would be pretty disappointed if this is what they ended up with after they saw Jaws, and they're like, man, I really want to play a video game version of that. Though, I mean, Jaws doesn't really... yeah, well, that's fine. Better to start over at this point. But who was like, man, Jaws would make a really good video game. Because, I mean, it's a movie all about building tension and a slow kind of build towards the shark's reveal. It doesn't really work in a video game form, which is why we ended up with something, I guess, that's completely unrelated. Until many years later when they decided, hey, what if you got to play as the shark? Maybe that would be a video game. And then they made another Jaws game after that, which I really hope people don't have the sort of weird nostalgia they do for Jaws Unleashed with that game, because that one looks fucking complete garbage by comparison. For the Wii. I'm gonna check that out at some point once I get the hardware setup done here. Missed that shell. But yeah, I guess we just have to wander around until I have enough shells that the other port will give me an upgrade. They don't tell you how many you need. If you go there and you don't have enough, nothing happens. Oh, now we're in the shallows. Less room to maneuver. Which is gonna be tough with Jaws here. I think as long as he's nearby you on the map screen, he can show up in these missions, even if you don't hit him. But yeah, that's really all there is to this game. I'm just curious if I can get to the final scene, or even get a power-up at this point. I think the key problem here is that there's just not anything fun to the loop of this game. Like, this little shooting thing here is not fun. It's just kind of stressful. Because you don't know where enemies are going to spawn, and if you touch them wrong, then you lose all of your progress. Nope, super-powered stingray shooting across the screen. And, like, your score doesn't do anything. That doesn't help you in any way. The shells are the only thing that help you here. Well, that was very close. You also have this weird, like, swimming inertia, where You can hit the the A button to stop your inertia, but otherwise you kind of slide around. Which can make it even harder to avoid fish. And I don't really know what triggers this bonus scene. It just seems to sort of happen more often than not. And you can slow down the plane or speed up, so you do have a little bit of control here beyond just, hey, I hope the jellyfish are under me. Man, 17 hits again. Okay, there's 5 bonus shells. Can I get more power? Do I have to get the scanner first? Oh. Jaws trapped me against the wall. Also, even this doesn't seem to hurt Jaws at all. Oh, I don't know how to skim the top of them there. Like, these ones here are especially bad. Where you're trapped in a tiny screen trying to avoid a giant shark. I would have hit that stingray even if I didn't hit the jellyfish. You know, I think this game is legitimately awful. I don't think there's really anything redeeming about it. Not even having a shark in it can save it from my discontent. And usually that's a pretty big bonus for me. Oh. Christ, how long is this one going to go on? Alright, that shark just would not go down. Alright, let's try one more time here, and then I think that'll be a good enough look at what this is. There's not much here, and what there is here is not great. But again, LJN was just there to constantly pump out garbage NES titles that they had licenses for. Gotta watch out for these jellyfish coming out of the bottom. Oh, that would have been a bad place to get hit there. And, like, there's nothing else to do. This is basically the majority of the game, is just these little fish battles. Like, this is the NES equivalent of an iOS game getting a console port these days. Like, sure, there's no substance to it, but it's just a little game. Except for this would have been, you know, like $60 when it came out. That's the worst of it. when you compare this to other NES games and, you know, see how little you got for your money here. Because, I mean, these days, sure, games are the same price, usually, though they're kind of ridiculously expensive here in Canada right now. But generally, they're not like, you're not gambling on length nearly as much. It's not like, oh, this game is a repeated screen and takes maybe an hour to beat. Like, games just don't get released like that really that much anymore, and when they do, they get the shit bombed out of them by reviews and such. Or they become art games. Oh, can I get more than 17 this time? There we go. It's a new record. Yep, 6 shells, so I think it's every 2 or 3. I don't know how many it is. Alright, so now we got 16 shells. The manual does not tell you the price of items. It doesn't even really tell you much. I mean, instead of increasing your power, like it says at the bottom of the screen where the power thing is, it says that you go to the port to increase your energy. Also, there's at least one spelling mistake in the manual. Okay, the stingrays are starting to get brutal now. That's the thing, I can't just play looky-loo here with Jaws forever, I have to actually kill these friggin' stingrays. Oh, that was a very close call. Not now. Don't need your shark times right now. I had enough of your shit when I had to throw fucking barrels of shit. See, like, that only costs 15. Oh, can't go through there. Also, the world map is really tiny, so... it's not like there's a lot of wandering to do. There might only be 2 of these battle screens, the shallow and the not shallow. And yet, it doesn't matter which one you get, the enemies are all the same. Just stingrays and jellyfish, and sometimes a shark that isn't Jaws. Also sometimes Jaws. I guess this is before the Coast Guard started sending fucking battleships after a shark. Oh, apparently at some point we get a submarine as well. Though again, the manual was very vague about when that occurs. It just apparently shows up on the main map screen at some point. God, people say Final Fantasy random battles are bad, but like... look how much longer these battles take. And how much less we get out of them. Okay, I'm hoping when I get to 20 shells, that'll be enough for an upgrade, so at least something different will happen before I end the video. You son of a bitch. You fucking... symbiotic organism with many different types of organisms that make up your body. I'm not sure I'd actually want to try to struggle through this entire game. Not even just for shark video games on my channel sake. Like, I would rather have to play, like, 2 hours of depth than have to play this. And depth is a very frustrating game these days. Not so much because it's a bad game or anything, but because of the people who play it. Sorry, Shiv, I know you are friends with them. Like, this just seems like manufactured suffering in a cartridge form. You know, like one of those games they would force you to play in prison as punishment. Because I do think the playing horrendous games as suffering has some merit. Some of them are just really bad. That was a pretty weak run. Yeah, so I think it's every 3 that you get another shell. No Jaws. I don't want any of your nonsense. Alright, again, gonna try to get to 20 shells. If I die again, doesn't matter that— oh, jeez, that one's coming right at me. It doesn't matter. If I have another life, I am going to give up. Well, that seals that. But eventually, when you do enough damage to Jaws, you'll be able to get him into a battle scene where you have to, like, fire off a strobe light, which causes him to surface, and then when he surfaces, you have to hit him with your boat, which kills him. I'm not sure why that is the case, but that is the case. And while it would have been neat to show that, I do not want to do the amount of shell grinding that it would take to do that successfully. Because I guess I could use save states to make this more tolerable, but even then, it still requires me to do a lot of this. And it doesn't even seem fun from like a, hey, this game's so bad kind of perspective. It just seems like I won't enjoy this, and I don't think you guys will enjoy my lack of enjoyment of it. It won't be suffering in a funny kind of way, but who knows, maybe I'll give it another stab someday. Until then, I've been Shadefire, this is Jaws for the Nintendo Entertainment System, and I hope you've enjoyed this awful, awful thing. Until next time, take care everyone.